Florentino Perez was after Alonso for years, just to sack him in a few months. He's like a toddler who wants a new toy, then gets tired of it after a few days.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Alonso losing his job came out of nowhere.
Xabi Alonso has been sacked by Real Madrid.
Real Madrid have sacked Xabi Alonso.
Xabi Alonso não é mais o técnico do Real Madrid.
Súper sorpresiva. Probably was one of the most unexpected moments.
La verdad que sí, ha pillado por sorpresa.
It can't be just for losing a Super Cup game. It can't be.
His authority is minimum, is impossible to continue.
The timing, the silence around it, the speed of it all. Very few people inside the club saw it coming. The players didn't know, the staff didn't know, even people who worked at the training ground every single day found out the same way the fans did, by seeing the news on their phone. Reportedly, one senior figure literally discovered Alonso had been sacked while standing in a supermarket aisle. Imagine being in the frozen food aisle and suddenly you get a notification that your buddy from work was just let go. Alonso's time at the Bernabeu barely had a chance to breathe. He was only hired in May. By December, his position was already shaky. There was a short run of good results that seemed to calm things down. It bought him some time. But after that Super Cup final, the illusion disappeared. Real Madrid lost 3-2 to Barcelona in the Supercopa de España final. The game was close though. Madrid were far more competitive than they were in the year before, where they got bent over and spanked 5-2. In fact, had Carreras not forgotten how to shoot the ball, or Asensio put his header anywhere but the middle, Madrid could have easily won. After the final whistle in Jeddah, Alonso and his players walked up to collect their runners-up medal. And now one image feels very symbolic. Alonso and Florentino Perez briefly embraced on the podium. It was one of those rare moments that they were seen together in public. At the time, it looked normal. In hindsight, it looks like Perez had already made up his mind. Perez is Real Madrid. He always has been. He makes the decisions. He holds the power. And what happened next made it painfully clear just how little power Alonso really had. As the Barcelona players prepared to collect their trophy, he waved his arms and called his players over, asking them to form a guard of honor for the champions. Now, some people have come out and said that Mbappe was actually telling Alonso and the rest of the team that they have to move to a different side because of the pictures being taken, and it had nothing to do with the guard of honor. But the details don't really matter. Just look at their body language. Alonso turned away, assuming the players will follow him, but they didn't. Mbappe, standing nearby, gestured for the players to go the opposite direction. The moment Alonso realized what was happening and that he had no control over it, he stopped. He sighed. He accepted the situation, and it was written all over his body language. So no matter the details of their conversation, no matter what it was about, this is a clip showing a star player publicly undermining the manager. This wasn't a one-off moment. As reports continued to come out, it was very clear that there was tension in the locker room from the moment Alonso stepped in. When you look at the details of some of the reports I'm about to show you, it just makes the Madrid players look so bad. When Alonso arrived in June, he walked into a dressing room that had been shaped by 4 years of eyebrow man. And to him, the way things were being done was not how you do things at a club that wants to be serious. Sources close to Alonso's staff described it as many bad habits taking hold over time. From the start, Alonso made one thing very clear to the players. Everyone would have to work harder when the other team had the ball. And without that effort, no one, no matter their name, would be guaranteed a place in the team. His first matches in charge came at the Club World Cup. And the tournament, it started off well, but ended badly for Madrid, with a 4-0 loss to PSG. After that, the squad went on a break. They didn't return until August 4th, when preseason began. And when the group came back together, there was an important meeting right away. Alonso and his staff sat the players down and told them they wanted intensity. They wanted standards. That's what the club told them they wanted too. They wanted to move away from the just play and vibes that they experienced under Carlo Ancelotti's second tenure. But some of Madrid's senior players weren't buying it. Multiple sources close to the first team players told The Athletic that frustration had spread inside the dressing room. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 guys. They didn't like the extra tactical meetings, they didn't like the heavier training, they didn't like being told how to behave, where to be, and when to be there. From the outside, everything looked fine, but on the inside, tensions were boiling. According to The Athletic, players like Mbappe, Tchouaméni, Arda Güler, Ceballos, and Asensio really believed in the coach. But Vini, Jude, and Valverde were not fans of Alonso. Think about that for a second. All Xabi wanted was for these guys to show up to training on time, train with intensity, and pay close attention to the details of tactical analysis. That's it. And yet some of these players found these basic requirements too much. Now, Jude came out and said on his own app, yes, today you learned that Jude Bellingham has his own app, that these reports are false and that he never had any issues with Alonso. Vinny, though, absolutely did have problems, and he never hid them. Funny enough, the situation between him and Alonso really boiled over during Madrid's best run of the season. You see, in late October and early November of 2025, Madrid had won 13 of their first 14 games. They had even beaten Barcelona at the Bernabeu. They were 5 points clear at the top of La Liga, and the results were excellent. But the cracks were widening. In the 72nd minute of El Clasico, with Madrid leading, Vinny was subbed. The Brazilian was very upset about this, and as he left the pitch and went straight into the tunnel, he was shouting, "Always me. I'm leaving the team. It's better if I leave. I'm leaving." The relationship between Xabi and Vinny had never been smooth. Reportedly, back in July, Xabi had planned to bench Vinny in Madrid's Club World Cup semi-final against PSG, but then Trent got a muscle injury and Alonso changed his plan. Instead, he played Vinny on the right wing, not his usual left side. It didn't go well. As I stated earlier, Madrid lost 4-0. Vinny was ineffective and he hated the situation. Since that moment, reportedly, Vinny never felt comfortable with Xabi. The Athletic said that people close to Vinny were already predicting in early August that it was not going to be an easy season. And they were right. At one point, Vinny only finished 3 of the 10 matches he started, and there were multiple matches where he didn't even start. Reportedly, the people close to Vinny were furious with Xabi Alonso. They couldn't understand why Alonso would take him off, especially when he was making a big impact. Because another similar situation happened in the match against Espanyol. Vinny was subbed off during a cooling break in the 77th minute with Madrid up 2-0. Alonso tried to explain it and calm him down, but Vinny was visibly annoyed.
Sido jugador, yo también, pues cuando me sustituían, pues a veces tampoco este es el momento más bonito, o sea que lo llevo con normalidad, con mucha naturalidad.
In the days after the first El Clasico, Vinny met with Perez. He apologized for his behavior, but he also made something very clear. He didn't want to extend his contract while his relationship with Alonso remained broken. His deal ran until 2027, and renewal talks stopped that day.
That has now sparked rumors that he has told Real Madrid, hey, I am not saying anything about a new contract as long as Alonso's here.
Yeah, well, that situation's been stalled.
Vinny ended up apologizing about the situation at the training ground in front of his teammates and staff. But when he posted his apology online, he didn't mention Alonso by name. And that wasn't an accident. Sources close to Vinny confirmed it was deliberate. When Xabi Alonso ended up being sacked, many Madrid players posted messages of support for him. Vinny didn't. Bellingham did, despite having previously been named among those unconvinced by Alonso's ideas. And it's important to note that Madrid never fined or punished Vinny in any way for his outburst. And it was in that moment that Xabi realized he was losing the dressing room. To outsiders, the whole situation made little sense. Madrid had hired one of the most respected young coaches in Europe. They had told him to modernize the team. They had backed his ideas with signings. And then they sacked him 8 months later. When Alonso arrived in May, he came with the full permission to tighten things up. He believed the dressing room had developed bad habits, that they had too much freedom, too little accountability. So training sessions became more intense. The tactical work increased. Video analysis became more detailed. Access to dressing room and training sessions was restricted to prevent leaks. The goal was to keep the circle small and just protect the group. Nothing crazy. Just keep everybody close so that there's no more leaks. Yet the reaction was not what Alonso expected. By October, the dissatisfaction was growing behind the scenes. Some players felt restricted. They felt Alonso's system didn't allow them to express themselves the way they had under Ancelotti. For a period of time, the results were saving Xabi. On November 1st, Madrid beat Valencia 4-0. That was their 13th win in 14 matches and they were flying. Then, everything collapsed. Over the next 7 games, Madrid won just twice. They lost to Liverpool in the Champions League, they lost to Celta Vigo in La Liga, they dropped points against Rayo Vallecano, Elche, and Girona. Victories against Olympiacos and Athletic Club helped, but even those games caused problems. Reportedly, around the Olympiacos match, Alonso made concessions. He did less video analysis, fewer demands. He went for a softer approach, basically going back to Ancelotti style. Players like Mbappe and Camavinga defended him publicly. Valverde did too, but inside the club, opinions were split. Some believed the morale had improved, others thought the problems ran way deeper. Another big moment came in Bilbao. Some players complained about traveling the day before the match. Alonso promised them 2 days off if they won. They did. They absolutely slapped Athletic Club 3-0. But then came the disastrous 2-0 home loss to Celta Vigo. The Bernabeu booed the team, and Alonso's decision making was questioned. At that point, Madrid's leadership began a serious discussion about replacing him. Arbeloa emerged as the leading option. Zidane's name was mentioned, but more as a dream scenario than a concrete plan. It's pretty much an open secret that Zidane is waiting to take over the French national team job. By December of 2025, the truth became impossible to ignore. Managing Madrid's stars was breaking Xabi Alonso. One source told The Athletic, the problem is not Xabi. Mbappe, Vini, and Bellingham just don't fit together. Fans seem to sense this too. The Bernabeu was whistling the players, not the coach. Still, the results kept Alonso alive. But after the El Clasico defeat in the Supercopa final, Perez decided time was up. For Madrid's leadership, changing the coach was simply the easiest solution. In these situations, the manager is never gonna win. It's a lot easier and cheaper to get rid of one coach than it is to get rid of multiple stars. I will say it is a bit strange to notice that Mbappe has had 10 different managers in 9 seasons. Now, according to many of these reports, Mbappe had no issues with Xabi, and besides the footage from the Super Cup final, they got along really well. In fact, Mbappe was having a great individual season. But this is a man who seems to constantly be around chaos. Is it a coincidence that as soon as he leaves PSG, they reach heights that they never got to when he was still there? Madrid announced the departure as a mutual agreement, but those close to Alonso strongly disagree. This was a sacking, clear and simple. Reportedly, Alonso told the club directly that their decision to sack him was wrong and unfair. He told them that they were sacking him because of player power. Many agreed with Xabi like Klopp, who came out and said that it's a sign there are issues at Real Madrid when a manager who was excellent for 2 years is asked to leave just 6 months later. Even Khabib backed Xabi. In a very polite way, he called the Madrid players spoiled brats by stating that if a team can't succeed with Xabi Alonso, then the players should have been changed, not the coach. Though there are some people that criticize Xabi's tactics, and those people are right. He didn't always make the best decisions, especially when it came to subs and rotating players. His team didn't always play the best football. But at the end of the day, I think most people agree that Xabi Alonso came out as the winner in this sacking. This is a guy who almost won a treble with Leverkusen of all teams, and almost did it without losing a single game. His systems work when the players buy in, but I guess it shouldn't really come as a surprise. His ideas and what the club actually wanted never really matched. Alonso was about structure, discipline, and building a foundation, while the club stuck to short-term thinking and star power. He was basically given an impossible mission: to change the culture at a place where people don't want to see change. He was never given the environment he needed to make his project work. He'll probably go somewhere that backs him properly and do well. And this will be another case of Madrid losing someone they didn't fully value. When you saw him on the sidelines, he agonized over each and every play. When Madrid scored, he would celebrate like he had won a trophy. And when they conceded, he looked like he wanted to melt into the ground. It was all written on his face and emotions. He was passionate and really wanted this to work. But the players clearly didn't. And it's a shame, because it seems like Real Madrid need a babysitter, not a manager. And now the endless Real Madrid cycle begins again. Hire a tactico, the players don't like him, they get bad results, and the tactico's fired. So then they hire a good vibes coach that makes the players happy, they win some trophies, but then the players get complacent by having too much happiness, the good vibes coach is fired, and they hire a tactico. Arbeloa has now taken charge of the first team. He's trusted, he's loyal, and he fits the Madrid hierarchy perfectly. He's a great yes man. Alonso and Arbeloa are close friends. Their families are close too. Arbeloa said Alonso wished them well, and he insisted that their friendship remains intact. But it shows you once again the one constant truth about Real Madrid. No matter who you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter how modern your ideas are, Perez always has the final say. And he told Xabi Alonso goodbye. Now the main guy who really wanted Alonso out was Vini. To see how Vini went from being a Ballon d'Or contender to an inconsistent winger, you have to watch this documentary on his journey.